Since the involvement of NASCAR superstars Dale Earnhardt Jr., Kevin Harvick, Jeff Burton, and Justin Marks, the notoriety of the Cars Tour and its competitors has skyrocketed. The racing speaks for itself because it's true, grassroots, hard-nosed late model racing at its best. And we're here to bring that action to light. This is On Tour. Back to On Tour. My name is Buddy Pulley, joined of course by my co-host, lead Cars Tour reporter for FrontStretch.com, Chase Folsom, or as of course we know him on this channel as Chuck. Chuck, you took a week off from reporting, kinda.
Yeah. It was gonna be a week off, and then a lot happened at Tri-County, and it wasn't. I happened to be there. It was actually helping out with a little bit of hurricane relief stuff.
Yeah.
Brought a bunch of stuff up there for donation. They had so many different people up there accepting donations. The God's Pit Crew organization, multiple Cars Tour teams, everything getting dispersed out through Western North Carolina. So they were accepting everything from grills to propane to gas to water, clothes, donated a bunch of clothes up there. And I'm not saying that to brag on myself. I'm saying that to hopefully encourage some of you guys to do the same. Because those people up there could use all the help they can get, and they're going to need it for quite some time, especially because I don't know if y'all saw, but it's already started snowing up there, and that's the last thing they need.
Yeah. They also didn't they lower the ticket prices too?
$5 a piece to get in.
Yeah. Hell.
So that was cool. It was packed too. So packed.
That's good. That was good to see. Yeah, it's good to see it. I mean, Tri-County, hopefully that brings more people back to Tri-County too, because it's such a good racetrack as well.
Beautiful sunset, by the way.
Yeah. I did not attend the race at Tri-County. I was too busy moping at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Yeah. Anyway, let's talk about the pro late model race, because that was we normally don't hit on pros, but we're going to. Chuck, you have an alleged rant to go on.
So I praise them when they do good, but I have to point out when the series does things bad. There are other things specifically from the late model stock car race we will get to later, but first and foremost, 7:45 start time. When you know you have a curfew of 11 o'clock.
Oh, yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
Especially when you knew earlier in the week when with college football, the CW said, yeah, our start time at Charlotte is 4 o'clock. You knew you weren't getting anybody doing both.
Yeah.
No drivers, no fans.
Yeah.
You should have immediately bumped it up to 7 right there.
Yeah.
They didn't. And then they started later than what they were already going to. They started at 8. Well, they ran the late model stock cars first in order to not hit the curfew, and lo and behold, they did what they normally do at Tri-County, and they went absolutely I can't say that, bonkers, and wrecked a bunch, used up a bunch of time, which we'll get to that later. Then we got to the pro late model race. We gave the pros, I think it was like an hour to run 100 laps, which
I've been to a lot of pro late model races.
In theory sounds reasonable, but it's not.
Yeah, that's almost undoable.
So we get to like lap 75, and they just keep wrecking. We're on like 2 lap spin, single car spins. And finally we're past 10:50.
Nope.
And they say, okay, right before 11, we're throwing 2 to go.
Yeah.
So Caden Honeycutt had taken the lead from Tristan McKee and Spencer Davis. Caution comes out. They say that. Tower says that's what's going to be the 2 to go.
Yeah.
Caden Honeycutt's the control car. He's the leader. He has been the leader. Tristan McKee, not only as the pace car pulls in, is riding in front of Caden Honeycutt, a nose ahead. He fires borderline before the restart zone. And nothing is called.
Reasonable.
They just go. And we're all like, I'm sitting in turn 1 and I've watched it happen. And I'm like, they're not calling that back. They're not black flagging the 6. What are we doing? They run couple laps. Caden Honeycutt, you can tell he's pissed by the way he's driving. I've never seen anybody plant a race car into the bottom of 1 and 2 harder in my life. Like, he is against the wall, and I've never seen anybody make that cut harder for like 5 laps, and he cuts the gap down. They give 2 to go. White flag. Honeycutt almost got to him. Didn't wreck him. Kudos to Caden. You know, we've seen it happen in Tri-County specifically before. They take the checkered flag. They come back around. Caden Honeycutt parks it in victory lane.
As one does.
We're like, okay.
And the shades of Robbie Gordon, and somewhere out there, Kevin Harvick is having him a come apart.
And he is livid. Rightfully so.
Yeah.
Because we're all like, well, Caden won the race, right? They're going to call it. 10 minutes go by. 15 minutes.
What is going on? Like, is Tristan McKee, is he celebrating? What's he doing?
So Tristan McKee went and looped around a little bit, and now he is parked nose to nose with the 47 facing the other way.
Oh, they're kissing. Okay.
The 47's facing the racing direction, and the 6 is nose to nose with him.
Okay.
Like 15 minutes go by. We're like, what are they doing? Finally, they call Honeycutt as the winner. Because I'm listening to Blake and Eric on the PAs, and I'm like, why are they talking about when the 6 fires? The 47 was the control car. Well, the tower, the entire time they're reviewing it, was reviewing it as if Tristan McKee was the control car because he was in front of the 47 the whole way around. And I'm like, hello, timing and scoring says a lap ago that the 47 was the leader. How hard is it to look at that and be like, oh, well, that's pretty blatantly obvious.
They should have just been up there like, you know what? Damn it. Where's Chuck? Get Chuck.
Yeah, I know, right? Chuck knows the answer. And by the way, that was only after 85 laps. So we ran 85 laps of a pro late model race and somehow still got the most controversial finish that a pro late model race could possibly produce.
Didn't even finish the race, but
they didn't even finish the race, and
Well, if you didn't finish the race, how do you determine a winner? Sorry, that was a real Sethism. Yeah, that's from what I heard, it was a bit of a fustercluck on all fronts. I would imagine Dale Jr. and Kevin Harvick are none too pleased. I mean, that's all, when they came in, that was one of the things that all 4 of them made note of was the start time. We have to go on time, and we have to improve these start times. And to have this happen is no, just no.
and I'll just say this, my personal opinion. They can tell me I'm wrong. They can tell me to F off if they want. I don't care. This is my personal opinion. Carson and Keeley have way too much to do on every given night. And if you guys don't know who I'm talking about, Keeley to
some of the hardest working people in motorsports.
Absolutely. And they do the job. They are the 2 people, them and Kip Childers are the 3 people that run the series on a nightly basis.
I want to know
Shout out to our boy Kevin.
Dude, I want to know how many steps they put in a day. Like, because I mean they are constantly
probably more than I do in a week.
Yeah. Well, right. But yeah, I mean, no, 100%.
Because they do the job of 10 people.
Yeah.
And that's why they're not.
Well, what's Glenn doing?
That's why Glenn's useless. I hope he watches this too and hears me say that.
Oh, I'll text him. I'll tell him. Kevin,
but that's why they're not in the position to make these calls and get things more organized in the moment because they're trying to do so much. Like, it took forever for them to get driver intros organized.
Yeah.
That's why we were late. So,
yeah.
That's part 1 of the rant.
Yeah. All right. We got a nice Chuck rant in. We'll come back with part 2 of Chuck's rant after the results from the late model stock race at Tri-County.
Taking a look at the results from the Cars Tour 225 at Tri-County Speedway, Connor Jones picked up his 2nd career Cars Tour late model stock win, followed by Jared Fryer, who was 2nd in just his 2nd start of the season, and Brendan Butterbean Queen takes over the points lead, rounding out the podium in 3rd. A strong run for Landon S. Huffman. He comes home 4th with Chase Burrow, another top 5 in 5th. Carson Quapple, in one of his final Cars Tour races for the foreseeable future, finishes 6th. Ryan Wilson in 7th.
Charlie Watson in 8th, Andrew Grady in 9th, and local Max Reeves, after an incident late in the race, rounds out the top 10. Cody Dempster was 11th. Trade Lapsovich had some fuel problems late. He was 12th. Connor Hall loses the points lead after being caught up in a wreck. He comes home 13th. Buddy Isles Jr. 14th. Minnie Tyrell, who was 2 laps away from winning the race, comes home 15th. Ryan Millington, same fate with fuel, is 16th. Aaron Donnelly came home 17th with Corey Heim, who dominated the race early, down in 18th. Brandon Pearson 19th, and Ronnie Bassett Jr. in 20th. William Sawalich was a couple laps off the pace. He was 21st, followed by Brody Monahan in 22nd. Caden Honeycutt in 23rd, and Deke McCaskill was also caught up in an incident in 24th. In that same incident was Brent Cruz. His nightmare final races of the season, it continues as he's in 25th. Blaine Harrison in 26th, Parker Eatman in 27th, Dylan Ward down in 28th, Cade Brown in 29th, and rounding out the field was Andrew Patterson down in 30th.
So as you saw there, Truck Series competitor and was Cars Tour regular Connor Jones ended up getting his second career Cars Tour victory. Pretty feel good win. I mean, we saw him have that big crash at Hickory earlier this year, and for him to come back, a little redemption win at Tri County. Chuck,
Yeah, and it wasn't a fluke either. He didn't back
no,
into it. He was fast all night long, ran top 3 just about all night long. He ruffled a few feathers. That's normal for a Connor Jones night, but nothing egregious. It was
yeah,
just a, hey, I gotta go. I'm faster than you. Bump and run. He actually gave one to Corey Heim at one point. Corey Heim did not like it. Corey Heim threw the most hellacious dive bomb I've ever seen into turn 3,
yeah,
and Connor just crossed him and drove off. And I was like, oof,
yeah.
that was rough.
A couple guys that might be racing each other there for a while. So
Yeah, but
yeah,
yeah, shout out to Connor. Solid performance, had some things fall his way, and even at Ace, he was in position to win and got spun under yellow. Tonight or Saturday night, he was in the right place at the right time when things fell his way, and sometimes that's where you got to be in racing.
hey man, luck is just when opportunity meets. Was it when opportunity meets preparation? That's it.
There you go.
Yeah, yeah, words. Yeah, I mean, obviously a big win for him. He actually ran out of gas on the cooldown lap to join his many competitors. The big story was the fuel. Why at Tri County specifically do we see this fuel issue?
So I know in the 200 last year, it was just a big miscalculation by so many teams that fueled up early in the race because they were like, "Oh, well, we can make it to the end," but they didn't
Yeah,
factor running 70 caution laps.
yeah,
Um, Basically the same thing happened. There isn't a regulation to have the car full.
yeah,
There's an expectation for how many laps you're going to run when you factor in caution laps, but for some reason at Tri County, we see these races turn into messes, and we end up running a lot of caution laps, sometimes more than we probably should. Um, I don't necessarily think we need to run 6 caution laps for a 2-car dust up
yeah.
when every car pulls away. That's a kind of another officiating gripe from Saturday night that I think needs to be looked at. And there was 2 specifically that got bit by this late in the race: Minnie
Yeah.
Tyrell and Ryan Millington. Minnie was on his way to win the race. He
Yeah,
had it won with
dude,
2 to go.
absolutely heartbreak. Dude, I was yelling at the TV. I was like, "No, no!" I was, yeah,
Yeah,
I couldn't believe it, dude. Like, what is? I mean, couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. Like, yeah, I think he says in his interview we're gonna play here in a minute. He's feels like he's allergic to Victor Lane. I mean,
yeah,
this poor
dude.
guy.
And I was like, when the yellow comes out, because you're not supposed to root for anybody, but there's certain guys
Yeah,
that when the opportunity presents itself, you're like, it's a good guy. He deserves it. And Minnie is
yeah,
one of those. They're a hardworking family. Um, they do things on their own.
yeah,
And he was, I mean, he after all this time away from Victory Lane, he was on his way to winning this race. Caution comes out with 2 to go, and I was like, he might get used up here. And then he runs out of gas, and it's like, oh, didn't even get the chance.
He's had so many opportunities this year too, and it's just it's heartbreaking. As far as the fuel thing goes, yeah, I mean that's just yeah, I mean it's kind of unacceptable. Like, I mean, I don't we have a red flag. Like, I'm pretty sure that's in the holster up there on the flag stand. Um,
He got
so
used once.
he got used once. Okay. All right. Well, it was quite the show down there. So I think maybe it could have gotten more use, especially if you I mean, yeah, if you know it's gonna be close. Like, take care of these guys. Like, if the expectation is to run a full tank of fuel and you have these plethora of caution laps, more than a normal car store, like, either let them all get fuel like halfway or something, or you know, figure you just got it. Yeah, it's just an unacceptable thing to happen.
Then this all comes back to, I'll tell you why they didn't, because they were looking at the clock. Because we started an hour later than we should have. So they didn't have time to red flag it. So it all compiles, one issue leads to the next issue, leads to the next issue, because then that leads to what we saw in the Pro Late Model race. That's exactly, I'm sure, why they didn't throw the yellow, because they were out of time. So Minnie mentioned like having a lap counter, like including caution laps to say, hey, after this many laps, we should be allowed to come down and get fuel and hold our spot.
Something like that, yeah.
And the devil's advocate I heard was, well, you should factor that, fill it up. Well, then then the teams are forced with a choice of, do I bank on everybody behind me not running out of talent and there being 70 million caution laps and putting just enough fuel in this car to go
it's a hard estimate
and like being competitive, or do I fill it up and run 15th?
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to give the teams that decision.
Yeah. It was one of those nights where this might be tough to hear, but the series might look themselves in the eye and think, oh, look, the consequences of my own actions. So yeah, it's something that's definitely got to get fixed, especially if it's, what is it? Once is a accident, two is a coincidence, three's a trend. Let's not let it become a trend. We did talk to Minnie Tyrell and Ryan Millington about their disappointing nights. Both of them ran out of fuel and pretty much axed any championship hopes they had, which stinks because they both had a leg up on Butterbean, and Connor Hall ended up in a wreck. So let's hear what they had to say after their rough night at Tri-County.
Utter heartbreak. I don't know, I must be allergic to victory lane or something this year, because I have done nothing but run second. Had this one, I think, in the bag by a mile, and just caution come out with some guys that are running out back, racing for 20 something, and why they're wrecking, who God only knows. But and yeah, we just ran out of gas. I was coasting and saving fuel and cutting the car off from the first yellow, which was at 24. I came to the radio and I said, hey, should I just save fuel just to be safe? Yeah, save fuel. Brandon coached me through that. So I started doing it every single caution religiously, just coasting, just cutting it, but it just, when you have cautions and people that wreck, and then you do 100 caution laps waiting for the cleanup crew to finish, and instead of just red flagging the race, it makes no sense. So if you're going to make us run caution laps, that's fine, but you need to let us come in and get fuel.
Well, I mean, the only thing that kept unfolding is everybody kept running out of gas. It was a big issue last year at the 30,000 race, and I just don't understand why they know it's an issue, why they're not giving us a stop to get fuel. I mean, 4 or 5 of us have ran out of gas now, and it's just kind of BS that we don't have pit stops and, we're running out of fuel, and it's determining the finish of these races. I mean, we have a solid 4th, 5th, 6th place car, and we finished 12th, 13th, 14th because we ran out of gas. It's just, and same thing with Minnie, and same thing with a couple other people. So, I don't know. They need to get it fixed, so that's about all I can say for it.
You heard from both Minnie and Ryan there. Neither one of them were too pleased with the series on Saturday night. One other thing I want to note, Cade Brown wrecked early in the race on the back straightaway, spun off turn 2, hit the back straightaway wall, and was parked, I guess, nose towards the outside wall against the inside wall.
Yeah.
And I know there's trailers back there, but the field went by him. The full field went by him once and was coming back around a second time before we got the yellow.
Yeah.
Dale Jr. is a co-owner of this series. Do we not have enough money to get spotters on the back straightaway? Like, if you have a blind spot, the explanation I heard was, well, the tower didn't see it. No shit. I can't say that on this show, but we should have spotters over there if you can't see that part of the racetrack, because that is a safety hazard.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know people, I'll finish up my rant by saying this, because this is not the first time this has happened this year. I know people, particularly some people on this show, aren't the biggest fans of dirt late model racing. But I will tell you one thing that the dirt late model racing world has right. Anytime there is a car slow on track, anywhere on the track, it is automatically a caution. Do fans get disappointed because it ruins great battles sometimes? Yeah. Does it stink when it's like guys almost off the track and it's a caution? Yeah. But you know what it isn't? It's not inconsistent, and it's not unsafe for the drivers. Every single time it's a caution, and every single time it keeps the drivers out of harm's way. And other grassroots racing series around the country should look at that and take note, because that is the way it should be done.
Yeah. I mean, on God. I'll leave it at that. Yeah, I mean, you're definitely not wrong. There's no excuse for any. That's the number one thing we want in racing officiating. It's consistency, and don't let the officiating be the story. So it doesn't matter if your vision of Cade Brown is skewed or not. The championship battle, we have one race left. Connor Hall is 9 points back of Butterbean. Butterbean has pulled away to the as much of a lead as he's pretty much had over Connor all year. Obviously, Connor led much of the season points. Anyway, Butterbean ended up third. Clutch and coast, baby, clutch and coast. All the way to the end. Connor Hall ended up in a early crash, but because of all the fuel savings, obviously you saw in the results, ended up 13th. Chuck, championship battle, 16 down, 1 to go.
I think it's over.
You think it's over?
Dude, I haven't seen. I tried a couple weeks ago. I tried to vouch for the 22 team. I did. Yeah. On this show right here, like 2 episodes ago, Buddy said that Butterbean had it, and I tried to vouch for the 22.
Yeah.
Team. They haven't shown me anything in months. They haven't had a clean race where they were both fast and didn't have a mechanical failure since. I'm honestly trying to remember.
It has been a while. I mean,
they weren't fast at Sobo.
I pointed this out a couple weeks ago on the show that, he built up such a lead and he's just been slowly just giving it back. And it's one of them deals like there were too many races on the schedule for him, it seemed like.
I think it was honestly Hickory in July when him and Millington got into it, because they got in a wreck at Wilkesboro.
That's the last time I remember
fast at Sobo.
talking about them.
They weren't fast at Wake County. They were good at Florence. obviously had a mechanical failure in the 300 at Martinsville.
Yeah.
They haven't had it.
Yeah.
They haven't had it. And Butterbean hasn't shown anything of them not having it. I don't think, actually, now that I'm thinking of it, I don't think he's finished outside the top 5 since he went airborne at Caraway.
Seems right. Yeah. I mean, and if he has, it has, it's been once.
Wasn't very far. I'm going to
He's
fact
been-
check that.
Yeah, he's been killing them with consistency. I mean, obviously Butterbean, ran top 5 at Wilkesboro in the spring, in the August race. Man, look, one thing I will say about Connor is it could go one of both ways. One of two ways, sorry. I have a studio audience that just glared at me for that phrase. Look, Connor, obviously we haven't talked about it yet. We hinted at it at Martinsville. He's going to JRM next year. Now he could either take the momentum and be like, I want to go into JRM guns blazing and go take this championship, or he can be like, I don't have to sell anything to anyone next year. I got to ride. So it just depends on what the mindset is with Connor going in, because I mean, I think these are two of the juggernauts of late model stock racing, specifically the car store. So I'd be hard pressed to believe they don't both show up with a lot of speed. But I think a lot of it's going to come down to mindset. Butterbean doesn't officially know what he's doing next year. He's got something to go out there and prove. It's whether or not Connor Hall, feels like he wants, what his mindset is, essentially.
Yeah, and by the way, 7 straight top 5s for Butterbean since Hickory in July, 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 5th, 3rd.
I'm no expert, but
model of consistency.
Yeah, I'm no expert, but that seems good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is so odd because we're talking about a team that wasn't consistent any part of the past year and a half, and they were either on or off. But for Connor Hall, I don't think he's given up on this, because you got to think he has the opportunity, knowing what he's doing next year, to say he won a championship with not one, both of the 2 biggest powerhouses in car store history.
Yeah.
One with one, left, went to the other, won there too. He has that opportunity in front of him. The problem is, you say you don't doubt that they're going to show up with speed. I'm kind of starting to, because every time I'm like, you know what? Oh yeah, it's clutch time. They have to have it figured out. They're going to show up with speed. And then they don't. And it's like, hello, there's 2 races left and you're fighting for a championship and you're running 17th at Tri-County. They weren't running good. Even though they got in a wreck, they finished better than they were going to.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to say. They were not good.
That's a little backwards, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what we're going to get from them. We don't really know what they had in August, because they got in that wreck. They still ran good with a wrecked race car, and they were fast at Martinsville. So it could translate, but I'm not going to be surprised if they show up and it's another dud.
Hey, man, I think you just hit on the key to Connor Hall winning this championship. Getting a wreck, you seem to finish better when you do it. No, I'm kidding. Okay. I do want to touch on Connor Hall. He's congratulations on that JRM deal. I mean, that is well deserved. I think you talked to him at Tri-County, picked on him a little bit. He's big time JRM guy now,
and suddenly everybody loves him.
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah,
slap Junior's name on a fire suit and everybody loves you.
Yeah, crazy how that works, huh? We did talk to Butterbean about his championship hopes going into North Wilkesboro. So let's hear what he had to say, and we'll come back, close out the show.
How was your strategy going into the championship race at North Wilkesboro?
Same as it was tonight. Just what happened to him can happen to us. So it's not over till it's over. We just got to go to Wilkesboro and try to go get the pole, try to lead laps, get the points that are available, and keep the 22 behind us or in sight.
Frontstretch.com is where you'll find all your racing content in one place for free. They have it all from NASCAR to F1 to IndyCar, grassroots racing, and even iRacing. Front Stretch has you covered with daily news for every series, weekly columns, and even on-site coverage at every NASCAR and Cars Tour event. Head over to frontstretch.com, subscribe to their YouTube page, and give them a follow on X to get your daily fix on all things motorsports.
As always, big shout out to frontstretch.com for allowing us to use the content that we get at the racetrack on this channel. Thanks to them for sending me to the racetrack and allowing me to gain the status where I can just show up to Tri-County and apparently work anyway.
ChuckStretch.com, baby.
ChuckStretch. No, it's not ChuckStretch.com. If you want to see any Cars Tour or late model content, you can go to the Front Stretch Grassroots YouTube channel. All the IndyCar stuff is on Front Stretch Open Wheel. NASCAR content is on the regular Front Stretch channel, and all of the written content can be found at frontstretch.com.
Cool. Yeah, I always appreciate Front Stretch for what they do for this show and motorsports in general. Chuck, as I said before, 16 down, 1 to go. We are going back to North Wilkesboro. What should we expect? We got a new tire than what we ran. We
don't have a new tire.
No. They went back. They're going back. Okay. All right. See?
Which, just little detail on this, I think is the right decision. Because I talked to some people about it because I was curious. And what the explanation I got, I accept. 45s are so much softer and they're going so fast there and putting so much load on the tire. They're going to explode right fronts on 45s in like 20 laps.
In my defense, Dale Jr. was the one who said at Florence that they weren't going to run the 45s, but they have to come up with something new for Wilkesboro.
They have ST2s and 3s.
Oh, okay. All right. So, yeah. So, new tire. I wasn't wrong.
I guess you weren't wrong.
Yeah. But anyway, but that aside, I mean, there's a variable right there. Obviously, it's a championship race. It's not going to be, and it's going to be a whole lot colder. Like it was mid 80s in the spring or in the summer. Good Lord. It's going to be 50s.
Maybe colder than that. I don't know if you guys know. Buddy lives in the central part of the state, and I'm closer to the western part. We were down in the 30s last night.
Okay. All right. Well, that'll be fun. That'll be fun. But either way, it's a totally different racetrack than what we saw.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Temperature's going to have to play a lot into that. I still think it's going to be tough to pass. I think for those guys, 100%. Not just Connor and Butterbean, but Spencer Davis and Caden Honeycutt and the pro late models as well. We'll hit on them in a few minutes. That qualifying session on Friday night, because yes, if you guys didn't know, qualifying is Friday night, racing on Saturday night. Those 2 laps on Friday night are the most important 2 laps of their season. Not close.
Yeah.
Where they end up on Friday night is directly going to determine everything for how their season plays out on Saturday. Everything's on the line. They have 2 laps. So there's going to be practice throughout the day. I don't know how much that practice is going to help these teams because we've had such temperature swings from day to night. It's like 30-degree difference, and we're racing at night. Yeah. So that qualifying session, those 2 laps you get, is also probably going to be your best indicator for how your car is going to run on Saturday.
Hey,
but you also got the thing in qualifying trim. It's going to be a massive curveball. I can tell you that.
Hey, man, look, Connor Hall, you better tape it up and put grandma's teeth in her pocketbook because you need to. You want to take this championship back, you're gonna have to put down a heater. You mentioned the Pro Late Model Championship as well. Give us an update on that.
Yeah, with his controversial but eventually win at Tri-County, Caden Honeycutt cut the championship gap behind Spencer Davis down to 6 points. So actually closer than the Late Model Stock Car Championship. So they were both pretty good there in August. Yeah, we have 2 fantastic championship battles on Saturday night. So don't sleep on the pro battle at all.
Hey,
because that is going to be a fun one.
Let me tell you, we're not supposed to pick favorites on the show, but Caden Honeycutt didn't always run me over in victory lane. So I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Yeah, great. It'll be a good show in the pro lates for sure. Between Spencer and Caden. Um, Question of the week, Chuck. What you got?
All right, so we know how hard it was to pass
Yes,
there in August.
can confirm.
I would imagine I don't think the cold temperatures are going to help that at all.
Yeah, no, I don't think they will either.
So, does the race winner come from the front row?
I don't know who's going to be on the front row.
That's the question. Like, I think whoever gets those front two spots, you got a pretty good chance.
Look, man, this entire season has been absolute as unpredictable as can be. I'm not at liberty to say. I honestly I think if we see a very calm, cool, and collective race, yeah, winner probably is going to come from the front row, but I wouldn't bank on it.
I'm going to say yes.
Yeah.
I think whichever team puts those cars on the front row is probably going to have two of the best cars, and they're going to be really hard to pass because it's going to be freezing. So I'm going to say first or second in qualifying wins race.
Okay, I'm gonna raise you one. Who do you win from the pole or do you win from second? And what lane do you
Second.
choose?
The winner comes from second.
Okay.
Because I think at some point somebody's going to slip up, even if it's the pole sitter. But if you have one restart, 5 to go, and you have to pick a lane and you're the leader, you pick the top.
Leave yourself open, leave yourself vulnerable to get used up.
Yeah, but if you pick the bottom and that guy pinches you off too, you're not getting off to the lead.
That's why we run the race.
Amen.
Tune in to Flow, obviously, or if you were in the area, or like my friend Joe that's laying on my floor in the studio here, he drove all the way down from Pennsylvania to be at the Cars Tour finale. Shout out to him.
Just means more, man. Just means more.
Exactly. It just means more because this is the greatest grassroots racing in America right now, and arguably maybe the greatest racing in America, period. Bold claim, I'm willing to back it up. We will obviously be at North Wilkesboro for the championship race. Hopefully our Otis, who is running for POTUS here in November, hopefully he will be there. I wonder if he'll be shirtless. It's going to be a little bit nippy out there.
He's shirtless. If he's shirtless, that man is a trooper.
Amen. Yeah. Hey.
Bring your jackets, folks. You don't have to be like Otis.
Bring your jackets, man. God by Wilkes County. Support your local short tracks. We'll see you this weekend.